NBA players are starting to speak out after shocking new claims surfaced surrounding Brandon Clarke's death, and some of the details now being revealed are leaving fans disturbed. From alleged cover-ups to dangerous drug use behind the scenes, people think this story may be far bigger than anyone expected. Brandon Clarke, the power forward for the Memphis Grizzlies, died on Monday. He was only 29 years old. The news hit the basketball world on Tuesday, May 12th, when both the team and his agency confirmed it publicly. But it was what came after the announcement that got people talking. According to NBC Los Angeles Fire Department paramedics responded to a 911 call of a medical emergency at a home in the San Fernando Valley on Monday evening. When they arrived, they found Clarke dead. The Los Angeles Fire Department responded to a medical emergency call around 5 p.m. on Monday, and when paramedics got to the scene, Clarke was declared deceased. Now here's where things start to get people's attention. Drug paraphernalia was found in the home, and the incident is being investigated as a possible overdose. Law enforcement sources told NBC Los Angeles. Narcotics were found at the scene, and there was no evidence of foul play, sources told ABC News. So officially, this is being treated as a potential overdose case, not a homicide. But that didn't stop the wave of reactions that followed, because before Clarke died, he said something that now sounds like a warning. In what has been circulated as his last known interview before his death, Clarke said he felt something bad was going to happen to him, and that he'd been very unlucky in recent days. He said, "I just hope to stay in the league as long as I can," and added, "Outside world ain't safe." Those words spoken before his passing are now being dissected by fans and commentators, who believe there's more to the story than what the initial reports suggest. And it wasn't just fans reacting. The death of Memphis Grizzlies big man Brandon Clarke shocked the NBA world on Tuesday. Clarke, 29, was beloved around the league by teammates, coaches, and former teammates alike. Ja Morant posted this: "Hurt BC, love you broski, gone way too soon, it's bigger than basketball." That phrase, "it's bigger than basketball," is the one that caught fire online. Some read it as simple grief, others saw it as something more, as a coded message that Morant knew something about Clarke's situation that the public didn't. Scottie Pippen Jr. wrote, "Rip brother, you will be missed, gone too soon." Jalen Wells added, "Everything he's went through in the time I've been in Memphis, he still came in with a smile on his face and was a light in the locker room. Truly an inspiring person." Kyle Anderson posted, "I'm so hurt. Man, really my dog, my Virgo twin. I love you so much, brother. I wish I could have been there for you." The phrase that Anderson used, "I wish I could have been there for you," is another one that the internet latched onto. It implied regret, as though Anderson felt that Clarke was in a situation that could have been prevented had someone been around. Combined with Morant's "it's bigger than basketball" and Clarke's own words about the outside world not being safe, a narrative started forming among fans that Clarke's death was not just a straightforward tragedy, but something with layers. To understand why the basketball world reacted this way, you have to understand who Brandon Clarke was and what he meant to the people around him. Clarke was born in Vancouver, British Columbia, before his family eventually settled in Phoenix. He went to Desert Vista High School, where he led his team to the Arizona Division I championship game in 2015. He wasn't a five-star recruit. He wasn't the kind of player that had blue blood programs lining up at his door. An overlooked high school prospect from the class of 2015, Clarke began his college career at San Jose State, where he came off the bench as a freshman before blossoming into an all-conference performer as a sophomore. In the 2016-17 season, that transformation at San Jose State caught bigger programs' attention, and he transferred to Gonzaga for the 2017-18 season as a sit-out transfer. When he finally got on the court for the Bulldogs, the impact was immediate and undeniable. In his only season there, he averaged 16.9 points and led the 33-win Bulldogs to the NCAA Tournament Regional Final, and he was named to the Wooden All-America team. A player who started his college career coming off the bench at a mid-major had turned himself into a consensus All-American and a first-round NBA draft pick. With his draft stock surging, Clarke opted to forego his final season of eligibility and declare for the 2019 NBA Draft, where the Grizzlies traded up from number 23 to select him with the number 21 overall pick. Clarke was the 21st overall pick out of Gonzaga in the 2019 NBA Draft by Oklahoma, which dealt his rights to the Grizzlies, who already took guard Ja Morant at number 2 overall. From day one, Clarke and Morant were linked, two rookies walking into a franchise that was rebuilding itself into something new, and Clarke delivered right away. A forward-center hybrid, Clarke averaged 12.1 points and 5.9 rebounds per game in his first year. With the Grizzlies, and was named to the 2019-20 All-Rookie First Team. Clarke joined Morant on the NBA's All-Rookie team during the pandemic, shortened 2019-20 season, averaging 12.1 points and 5.9 rebounds in 58 games, while finishing fourth in Rookie of the Year voting. That's the kind of start that makes a franchise believe in you, and the Grizzlies believed in Clarke enough to build around him. He largely played off the bench and was a key figure on the 2021-22 Grizzlies team that won 56 games. During Memphis's deepest postseason run in 2022, a season during which they won 56 regular season games, he became a necessity on the floor because of his aggressive rebounding and ability to finish at the rim at a high rate. Though he was never a full-time starter, he was part of the core of players the Grizzlies were trying to build into a championship contending team. Over the last several years, that 56-win season was the peak. The young Memphis Grizzlies, led by Morant and supported by players like Clarke, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Desmond Bane, looked like legitimate title contenders in the Western Conference. Clarke was a glue guy, the kind of player whose energy off the bench could swing the momentum of a game. He set screens, grabbed offensive boards, blocked shots, and finished with remarkable efficiency around the rim. He wasn't a star, but he was indispensable. Clarke served primarily as a valuable bench player early in his career and signed a 4-year, $52 million extension with the Grizzlies in October 2022. That contract told the story. Memphis saw Clarke as essential to their long-term plans. They were willing to invest heavily in a player who by every measure had earned it. But what happened after that contract extension was nothing short of devastating. The injuries started piling up, and they didn't stop. He tore his left Achilles tendon March 3, 2023, in a loss to the Denver Nuggets in a showdown of the top two teams in the Western Conference. An Achilles tear is among the most catastrophic injuries a basketball player can suffer. It can alter explosiveness, lateral movement, and the very athleticism that defines a player's value. For Clarke, whose game was built on energy, effort, and finishing at the rim, the implications were enormous. He suffered a season-ending torn Achilles in March 2023 and appeared in only 6 games the following season. 6 games in an entire season. That's how long it took for the Achilles to allow him back on the floor. And even then, the results were limited. He played 64 games during the 2024-25 season, but only 2 this season because of knee and calf issues. After tearing his left Achilles in 2023 and suffering a PCL injury in 2025, Clarke was limited to just 2 games in the 2025-26 season following a calf injury in December. He was out at the start of this season due to a right knee injury. He returned in mid-December and injured his right calf in his second game. The Grizzlies ruled Clarke out for the rest of the season on March 24. So while his teammates were fighting for playoff positioning, Clarke was on the sideline, rehabbing, watching, unable to contribute to the thing that defined his life. Injuries limited Clarke to 72 of a possible 246 games over the past 3 seasons, including only 2 this season. That's a staggering number. In the span of 3 years, he missed 174 games. And the $52 million contract signed in optimism in 2022 became a measure of what the player and the franchise had hoped for, and how far short the final 3 seasons fell from that expectation. Think about what that does to a young man psychologically. You go from being a crucial piece on one of the best teams in basketball to being a name on the injury report. You go from hearing the roar of the crowd every night to watching your teammates from the bench in street clothes. The contract keeps paying you, but the game, the thing you've been working toward your entire life, keeps being taken away from you. And then off the court, things started getting worse. Just weeks before his death, Clarke made headlines for a troubling incident in Cross County, Arkansas, where he was arrested on April 1, 2026. He was charged with possession and trafficking of a controlled substance, identified by police reports as kratom, a plant-based substance illegal in Arkansas, as well as fleeing from officers in a vehicle and improper passing. Memphis Grizzlies player Brandon Clarke allegedly led Cross County Sheriff's Office deputies on a miles-long chase, with speeds reaching over 100 miles per hour, and was found with over 230 grams of kratom in his possession. An arrest affidavit obtained by the Commercial Appeal said, according to the police affidavit, a deputy was conducting a traffic stop when a white Corvette passed by him. Clarke reportedly didn't stop, and a chase ensued that reached triple-digit speeds on Arkansas roads. When deputies finally pulled him over, Clarke stated that that stuff is legal, referring to the kratom found in his vehicle. Deputies also said a THC vape pen was found, and a field test confirmed the liquid it had was marijuana. Prosecutors also hit Clarke with a felony count of fleeing in a vehicle or conveyance, exceeding the posted speed limit, with authorities saying he attempted to evade cops during the alleged incident. The list of charges didn't stop there. Clarke was additionally hit with 3 misdemeanors: possession of a Schedule fee-controlled substance under 4 ounces, improper passing on the left, and speeding more than 15 miles over the limit. Clarke posted bail on April 2nd. Documents show his bail was set at $25,000. He walked out of jail, but the legal trouble was far from over. Clarke was supposed to face an Arkansas judge set for just days after his sudden death. He never made it to that court date. Now, the question everyone is asking, what did NBA players mean by what they said? And why did some of those reactions feel like they were about more than just grief? Let's revisit the key reactions. Ja Morant shared an emotional Instagram story honoring Brandon Clarke, writing this hurt gone way too soon. In another post, Morant wrote, "It's bigger than basketball," alongside a clip of the two embracing during a game. He also referred to Clarke as BC15, adding, "Still our GOAT." Morant and Clarke were part of the Grizzlies' core during the franchise's recent playoff runs, developing a close relationship on and off the court. The posts included images of the two celebrating and interacting during games, underscoring Clarke's presence within the team's locker room. Morant's words carry weight because of the depth of his relationship with Clarke. They were drafted together in 2019. They made the all-rookie team together. They went through Memphis's rise together. When Morant says it's bigger than basketball, it resonates because he's not just talking about a colleague. He's talking about someone he grew up with in the NBA. Someone he considered a brother. And the implication, at least to fans parsing every word, is that there were things happening in Clarke's life that went far beyond the box score. Jalen Wells wrote, "Everything he's went through in the time I've been in Memphis. He still came in with a smile on his face and was a light in the locker room. Truly an inspiring person." That's a teammate acknowledging publicly that Clarke was going through things, not naming specifics, but making it clear that there were battles being fought behind the scenes. The smile, the positive energy, the light in the locker room. All of that was apparently a front for deeper struggles that teammates were aware of, but the public was not. And then there's Kyle Anderson's raw, unfiltered reaction. "I'm so hurt, man. Really my dog, my Virgo twin. I love you so much, brother. I wish I could have been there for you, so hurt, man." The guilt embedded in that statement is palpable. "I wish I could have been there for you" is not just grief. It's regret. It's the kind of thing you say when you believe that your presence might have changed the outcome, when you feel that someone you cared about was slipping and you weren't close enough to catch them. The NBPA also released a joint statement from Executive Director Andre Iguodala and President Fred VanVleet. "This is an incredible loss for the brotherhood. We will remember Brandon not only for the immense joy he brought to so many throughout his career, but for the genuine friendships he built far beyond basketball." Again, far beyond basketball. The phrases that players and officials chose to use all seem to point in the same direction. That Clarke's life off the court was complicated, and that the people closest to him knew it. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver expressed sympathies to Clarke's family and friends and the Grizzlies organization. "We are devastated to learn of the passing of Brandon Clarke," Silver said. As one of the longest tenured members of the Grizzlies, Brandon was a beloved teammate and leader who played the game with enormous passion and grit. Danny Green briefly played with Clarke during the 2022-23 season. The former guard remembered his former teammate on ESPN's NBA Today. Each tribute added another layer to the portrait of a man who was cherished privately, but who clearly was wrestling with challenges that those around him could see. Meanwhile, Clarke's agency, Priority Sports, offered perhaps the most poignant tribute of all. "Our hearts are so broken as we think about his mom, Whitney, his entire family, and all of his friends and teammates. From high school to San Jose State to Gonzaga to the Grizzlies, Brandon impacted everyone who was part of his life. Everyone loved BC because he was always there as the most supportive friend you could ever imagine. He was so unique in the joy he brought to all of those in his life. It's just impossible to put into words how much he'll be missed." The pattern across all of these reactions is unmistakable. Everyone who knew Brandon Clarke loved him, and yet everyone seems to acknowledge, some explicitly, some between the lines, that he was fighting something. The injuries, the legal trouble, the isolation of rehab, the distance from the team, the impending court date. All of it was closing in. So let's bring it all together and be honest about what the evidence actually tells us. The title of this video uses the word murder, and that word has been floating around social media ever since Clarke's death was announced. His own last interview, where he said outside world ain't safe, has been used as fuel for that theory. The emotional, sometimes cryptic reactions from NBA players, particularly Morant's "it's bigger than basketball" and Anderson's "I wish I could have been there for you," have added to the speculation. But here's what the actual investigation has revealed so far. LAPD sources confirmed to ABC News that Clarke was found dead from a possible drug overdose Monday in a home located in Los Angeles' San Fernando Valley. Narcotics were found at the scene, and there was no evidence of foul play. That last part is critical. No evidence of foul play. The Los Angeles Fire Department responded to a medical emergency call around 5 p.m. on Monday. And when paramedics got to the scene, Clarke was declared deceased. An autopsy will determine the cause and manner of death. The cause of death is pending additional investigation, according to the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner. At this stage, there is no official link between the Arkansas kratom charges and the circumstances of Clarke's death in California. The combination of a young, high-profile athlete, an open drugs case, and a sudden, unexplained death has prompted commentary, but those narratives are not yet backed by toxicology data or an official cause of death. He was allegedly staying in Los Angeles with a college friend before his passing. TMZ said the barber told them Clarke seemed perfectly content while getting a haircut on Friday. He supposedly watched a playoff game between the San Antonio Spurs and Minnesota Timberwolves during the appointment. So just days before his death, Clarke was reportedly in good spirits, getting a haircut, watching basketball, seemingly at ease. The reality, as it stands right now, is that the word murder does not match what investigators have reported. What matches is a far more common and equally tragic pattern. A young athlete dealing with mounting injuries that robbed him of his career, legal trouble that was piling up, and substances that were present in his final moments. The NBA players' reactions, while emotionally charged and in some cases open to interpretation, are more likely expressions of genuine grief, guilt, and the helplessness of watching someone you care about deteriorate from a distance. Clarke's own words about the outside world not being safe can be read many ways. It could be interpreted as a general commentary about life outside the NBA bubble. It could reflect his awareness that the world beyond the locker room was where his problems were growing. The arrests, the substances, the isolation from the game. There is no evidence, as of this moment, that anyone caused Brandon Clarke's death. There is evidence that Brandon Clarke was a man who had been struggling and that the people who loved him knew it, and that none of them were able to stop it. Clarke had become one of the longest tenured players on Memphis's roster and was considered an important locker room presence during the franchise's rise into Western Conference contention. Now, the basketball world waits for more answers surrounding a tragedy that has left the Grizzlies organization and NBA community stunned. Brandon Clarke was 29 years old. He played 7 seasons in the NBA, all with one franchise. Clarke averaged 10.2 points and 5.5 rebounds over his 7 seasons with the Grizzlies. He was a first-round pick, an all-rookie selection, a key piece on a 56-win team, and a $52 million man. And now he's gone. The autopsy results will, in time, provide the definitive answer. But whatever that answer is, the loss remains the same. The NBA lost one of its own. The Grizzlies lost a brother, and the people closest to Brandon Clarke are left with the weight of knowing that all the love in the world wasn't enough to keep him here.